Good evening. I'd like to call the City of Menasha Administration Committee meeting to order.
I second that. James, you gotta get through here. You're welcome, James. Come join the.
The first item of business this evening is, I'm sorry, roll call, please, Clerk Galiazzi.
Alderman Kruger. Here. Alderman Tom Grotti.
Here.
Alderman Ted Grotti. Here. Alderman Rapella.
Here.
Alderman Nichols.
Here.
Alderman Taylor.
Here.
Alderman Severnick.
Here.
Alderman Langdon.
Here.
Thank you. The first item of business this evening are the minutes to approve from the Administration Committee meeting of June 4th, 2018. Is there a motion? Alderman Kruger.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I would like to make the motion to approve the Administration Committee minutes of 6/4/2018.
We have a motion and a second from Alderman Tom Grotti. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. The first item under action items this evening is a request to apply for, receive, and spend a state health assessment community dialogue mini grant. Director McKinney, could you tell us more about this and what you're looking for this evening?
Sure, thank you. The State of Wisconsin Division of Public Health runs the Prevention Block Grant Program, and they have chosen to offer mini grants to the local health departments. We already have funding for prevention from the Division of Public Health. This would be an additional funding source for community assessment dialogue. Right now, we're working with the health systems, which would be Aurora, Theta Care, Ascension, and Affinity in Children's Hospital. We're also working with the Tri-County Health Departments, which would be City of Appleton, us, Winnebago County, Calumet, and Outagamie County, to do a community health assessment. And we've sent out surveys throughout the Tri-County area, and it is run professionally. We have a researcher that's assisting us. We also have done a community member survey, which is individuals that might be from different groups that don't always have their voices heard. We're in the process of compiling all of that information and hope to have a report out later this summer, early fall, with what the top priorities are that our community is interested in as far as health. At the same time, the state of Wisconsin is undergoing community health assessment too, and they're preparing for 2025, the state health plan. This mini grant would allow us to coordinate with the state, bring our priorities and our voices to their process. So it's a kind of a perfect timing where we will be able to do community events. In addition, there will be an opportunity to learn facilitation skills. And we have a public health educator that is assisting with community assessment that would be probably launching that. And it's a really good skill set for the city to have as far as somebody who can facilitate those events. So it is a really good opportunity. There will be 25 applicants that will be funded statewide. And so we have a pretty good chance. We would like to try for it, and we're seeking your approval to do that. The maximum award would be $4,500. That means that our revenue account, if we were funded, would increase by $4,500 in the public health area, which is 100-000-432-1400. And our prevention expenditure account, 100-0906, would increase by $4,500. We recommend this opportunity be given to us. We don't have a guarantee we will be funded, but we would like to try.
Thank you for that. We'll look for a motion and then open the floor for discussion. Alderman Kruger.
Thank you, Chairwoman. I would like to make a motion to recommend to the council the request to apply for, receive, and spend a state health assessment community dialogue mini grant.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Kruger and a second by Alderman Ted Grotti. for this item? Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Motion carried on roll call 8-0.
Thank you. The next item is the Resolution 18-18, which is a resolution approving a 2018 Capital Improvements Program budget adjustment for the purpose of providing the funding for the addition of the Broad Street Engineering Design Project in 2018. Director Radomski, could you provide some background information about how we got here today and what you are seeking?
So in 2014, the council approved a state municipal agreement for the construction of Broad Street and with the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. Part of that agreement was that the state would be funding 78% of the construction costs and 60% of the design costs for the project. This amount for the city was approximately $315,000 for construction and design at that time. At the time, Director Radke had budgeted $315,000 in the 2015 budget, and then subsequently carried it over in a memo in 2016. However, somewhere in the 2017 period where we did not have a Director of Public Works, that memo was forgotten about and there was no carryover at that time. Subsequently, I was not aware of these costs during budget period from this past November. So this is to clean up a little bit of the errors that were made in the past and to try and move forward, with the proper, direction. So we're requesting $60,300 to pay for real estate costs that we did not know were I did not know at the beginning of this year that they were going to be incurred solely at our expense, and then another $25,000 in engineering that we expect to see this year.
We talked a little bit about this at the council meeting tonight. What sort of property acquisition is taking place?
Temporary limited easements for residents along Broad Street. As I explained earlier, they are easements that allow the DOT contractor to work on private property and, in order to grade and make sure that things look nice at the end of the project. It's a fairly typical thing that, some state projects do need TLEs depending on, right-of-way considerations.
And as far as the project goes up to this point, contracts have been signed, work is being done
Yes.
on schedule and moving according to plan?
Yes, in 2016, we did sign an engineering agreement with JT Engineering to do all the engineering work on this project. They have been working on it. We have 90% plans, 100% plans are due shortly, and contract is expected to be bid out later this year with construction starting in 2019.
Great, thank you for that. I'm going to move that we forward to Council R-18, the resolution approving the 2018 Capital Improvement Program budget adjustment for the purpose of providing the funding for the addition of the Broad Street Engineering Design Project, which is a state project, and this will happen in 2018. We have a second by Alderman Kruger. Are there any questions about this resolution? Alderman Sevenick.
Thank you, Chair. You sort of asked one of my questions, which was the land acquisition. I'm just do we have any kind of designs yet to look at?
We do have 90% plans. If any of you want them, I can make them available.
I just want to make certain that now with this added land acquisitions that we're not taking parking from the corner of that street and Racine. by that building. I think I asked you that before.
Yeah.
See, and the reason I ask you this, because Mark was always gun-ho for some reason to turn that into a right lane right there for some reason, so.
Yeah,
I
no,
wanna
no,
make sure
no,
that
no
that's-
parking is being taken there, no parking is being lost through the project. It's most outside of a couple of, maybe a spot in front of Trinity Lutheran, because we could not relocate the utility poles that are over there. So we have to put curb and gutter around those to make them, meet with the DOT standards. Yeah, the only reason that they need the TLEs is so that they can grade onto the personal property of, the landowner's property. The actual sidewalk is not going beyond the property line in any situation.
Was there any funding available for training for backwards parking?
Not at this time, but I can make a little video over at Nina and present it at council if you want.
I've seen it.
Alderman Taylor?
So that reverse parking Alderman Sevenick just talked about, that'll happen on the 3 and 400 block of Broad Street, is that correct?
That is correct.
Certainly $60,000 is a lot of money to make up that we didn't budget for. $35,000, I understand, is for, 25 is for engineering, and 35 is for land acquisition.
That is correct.
Okay. Why wouldn't we want since a lot of people didn't want their 40-year-old terrace tree taken down and lose 2 feet of their terrace, why don't we just forget about the bike lane and do the project without the acquisition of the $35,000?
That was a decision made before I became director. I do not know why that decision was made. However, that's a WISDOT design decision. It was presented at prior public information meetings, and any changes should have been made at that time.
Okay, so, and this should have been carried over to at that time. So if we don't approve this and don't do it, what happens then?
We still have to pay the fees and all of the engineering costs that have been incurred to date.
Okay, so we pay the engineering costs, what about not acquiring the property?
We still have to pay the Moss and Associates, who we've hired to do the land acquisition, and we already have purchased a number of TLEs in the past couple weeks.
Well, the neighborhood certainly isn't in favor of it, and I just thought we'd save them an extra $35,000, not tearing down all their trees in their terrace.
Alderman Langdon?
Thank you, Chairperson Nichols. May I ask the attorney a question?
Of course.
Attorney, kind of a humor question. I know Alderman Sevenick's brought it up a couple times, backwards parking. I know Nina has it over there, by the Y, at the Y there. How is that working?
I like it, I use it. It seems to be working well. There are still some complaints, but for the most part, it's accommodated more vehicles for parking in that location, and it has allowed for easier pickup for people picking up their children from events. The line across the street next to the building is for pickup for children and other people, and using the Y resources. So it seems to be working well.
Now, it's kind of funny, Alderman, like I said, it's a humor question. Alderman Sevenick brought up about practicing or backing up or what was that? Teaching. I mean, you just put that parking in and the people just went and did it, correct? They learn on your own, like the roundabouts, you just go? Or how?
I think that's part of it, Alderman. The other thing I can say is, at least from my experience, it seems that these parking spaces are a little bit wider than normal, because it's easier to navigate back into there than what I would conceive from other sized stalls.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I would ask that we keep the questions to the budget, to the resolution for the capital improvements budget adjustment going forward. Thank you. Alderman Taylor.
Thank you. Josh, the $35,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to put you on. There you go.
$35,000 certainly is a lot of money. And why would we all spend that type of money for one block in that whole area to have a bike lane? We don't have it on the 100, 200 block of Broad or the 400 block of Broad. We have it on the 300 block of Broad.
Again, Alderman Taylor.
Yeah, that is right to the $35,000 here. That's what I'm talking about, to save the city this $35,000.
If I recall, the Broad Street in that location is part of the Friendship Trail, and the DOT does try to accommodate bicycles whenever possible.
Okay, the 100 and 200 block was just done a year and a half ago.
I was
It's all
not
brand-
involved, I
all
was not
brand
involved with that
blacktop.
project, so I do not know why that was done that way.
So here we're wasting $35,000 for one block, and this whole project. It's ridiculous.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote.
Motion carried on roll call, 7-1.
And with that, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Alderman Taylor and a second by Alderman Ted Grady. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. We are adjourned.